So in just a few days, Samsung's going to ask you to pay over $20,000 for the Galaxy Z Fold 8 Ultra, and a lot of fans think Samsung simply added the Ultra name to justify that higher price. But after digging through every leak, Samsung actually made some Ultra upgrades, while leaving out some of the very features that define an Ultra phone. So let's find out whether Samsung actually earned the Ultra name. At first glance, I'd probably agree with everyone else. The Fold 8 Ultra looks so similar to the Fold 7 that most people wouldn't notice the difference. But then I stopped looking at the outside and started looking at what Samsung actually changed. Ironically, Samsung's biggest Ultra upgrade isn't the camera, it's the display. For the first time, the Fold is getting Samsung's anti-reflective display technology, something that stayed exclusive to the S Ultra lineup for the past 3 years. Samsung is also increasing the peak brightness to around 3600 nits. Higher brightness makes the display easier to see under direct sunlight, while the anti-reflective coating reduces the reflections hitting the display in the first place. Samsung is also reportedly increasing the pixel density of the inner display, making everything from text to videos look even sharper. Then there's the crease. Samsung has spent years getting criticized by Oppo, Honor, and Vivo in this area, and this finally looks like their answer. The Fold 8 Ultra is expected to get a nearly invisible crease, removing one of the biggest compromises of owning a foldable. But if Samsung really wanted to build the ultimate foldable display, then where's the privacy display? Samsung introduced it on the S26 Ultra as one of its biggest new display features, yet the Fold 8 Ultra doesn't get it. Now, foldable displays are much harder to engineer, so from an engineering perspective, that decision makes sense. From a price perspective, it's a lot harder to justify. The camera upgrades are just as interesting. Samsung is finally bringing some of the S26 Ultra's camera upgrades over to the Fold. The 200-megapixel main camera is expected to get the wider aperture, allowing it to capture significantly more light for better low-light photos and videos. Samsung is also adding APV lossless video recording, giving the Fold its biggest video upgrade in years. Then there's the ultra-wide camera. After multiple generations of using the same 12-megapixel sensor, Samsung is finally replacing it with a 50-megapixel one. Even the inner display camera cutout is reportedly shrinking from around 3.7 millimeters to roughly 2.5 millimeters, making it much less distracting while watching videos or multitasking. Then you get to the telephoto camera, and suddenly it doesn't feel so ultra anymore. Samsung is still sticking with the same aging 10-megapixel 3x telephoto sensor. At this point, crops from the 200-megapixel main camera are already competitive with it in many situations. Replacing that sensor with a proper 5x telephoto would have completely transformed the camera system. Instead, Samsung chose to keep the same compromise for another year. Under the hood, the Fold 8 Ultra is also getting some meaningful upgrades. The Fold 8 Ultra is expected to use the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 for Galaxy, but Samsung isn't stopping there. According to recent leaks, it's also getting a much faster NPU, allowing on-device AI features to run even faster than on the S26 Ultra. Samsung is also adding a vapor chamber cooling system to the Fold lineup for the first time. Unlike a regular phone, the Fold can have 3 apps open while running Galaxy AI on the background. That's exactly the kind of workload that benefits from better cooling. But even here, Samsung still leaves one obvious feature behind: Qi 2 magnets. For years, Samsung's excuse was that the S Pen's EMR technology doesn't work particularly well with magnets, except this phone no longer supports the S Pen. You'll still need magnetic cases to get the full experience. Samsung has barely touched the Fold's battery for years, and this is finally changing. The Fold 8 Ultra is expected to get a 5,000 mAh battery, marking its first real battery capacity increase in years. Charging is also getting a long-overdue upgrade to 45-watt wired and 20-watt wireless. Then you compare it to Samsung's own Ultra phone. The S26 Ultra hit 60 watts this year, making the Fold 8 Ultra slower despite costing even more. So even after finally upgrading charging, Z Fold 8 Ultra still isn't leading. Samsung also added a few software upgrades designed specifically for foldables. My favorite addition is something called foreign material detection. Before folding the phone, it checks whether something is trapped between the displays and warns you before you accidentally damage the inner screen. It's solving a problem that only foldables have. Samsung is also adding more Fold-specific automation features, but there's still one feature I can't stop thinking about: the S Pen. Out of every phone Samsung makes, the Fold is the one that benefits the most from a stylus. It unfolds into a mini tablet. It's perfect for taking notes, reviewing documents, sketching ideas, or editing photos. Yet Samsung completely removed S Pen support. Ironically, the Fold 8 Ultra becomes the only Ultra phone without the feature that helped define Samsung's Ultra lineup in the first place. Then there's one compromise Samsung still hasn't solved after 8 generations. The Fold 8 Ultra remains IP48, while competitors like Google's Pixel Fold have already reached IP68 for full dust protection. On its own, that wouldn't be a huge issue, but this is also the first Galaxy Fold to cross the $2,000 mark, and once a phone reaches that price, people stop comparing it to last year's Fold. They compare it to everything Samsung is capable of building. That's exactly why the Ultra branding has become so controversial. It's the best Fold Samsung has ever built, just not the no-compromise Ultra many fans were expecting. While we were discussing these upgrades, the first hands-on video leaked. We want you to stay with us by subscribing and share your valuable feedback through comments. See you in the next video.